We've made a catastrophic error as a society. We've used the words schooling and education interchangeably, as if they're synonyms. They're not.
True education isn't a credential you earn and frame on your wall. It's a practice. It's the daily habit of staying intellectually hungry, professionally adaptable, and perpetually curious. Picture this. You're standing at your high school graduation, diploma in hand, cap slightly askew, and somewhere between the euphoria and the camouflages, a strange question creeps in. Now what? After investing roughly 15,000 hours of your life in classrooms, that's more time than it takes to master virtually any skill on Earth. Why does adulthood feel like showing up to a test you never studied for? Here's the uncomfortable truth. We've built an entire civilization around the assumption that more schooling equals more intelligence. Yet, we've all met that straight-A student who can't hold a conversation, or the dropout who built $1 million business from their garage. Something doesn't add up. What if I told you the system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed? And that's precisely the problem.
Schooling is institutional. It's standardized. It's sitting in rows, absorbing prescribed information, and regurgitating it on command. It's essentially compliance training with textbooks. Education, on the other hand, is transformative. It's the moment your brain makes connections nobody told it to make. It's the curiosity that keeps you reading at 2 a.m. It's learning because you must know, not because you'll be tested on Friday. Here's the tragedy. Children enter kindergarten as natural scientists. They question everything, experiment fearlessly, and learn at a staggering pace. But 12 years later, most have been systematically trained to wait for instructions, memorize what they're told, and never, ever color outside the lines. We don't just fail to nurture curiosity, we actively suffocate it. And then we wonder why innovation is so rare.
Let's travel back to the 1800s. The Industrial Revolution is in full swing, and society has a problem. Factories need workers, lots of them. Workers who show up on time, follow instructions without question, and perform repetitive tasks with mechanical precision. So we built an education system to solve that problem. And honestly, it worked brilliantly. The school bell mimics the factory whistle, the classroom structure mirrors the assembly line, grades measure compliance as much as comprehension. The system was engineered to produce reliable employees for an industrial economy. And it succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. There's just one tiny issue. That economy died approximately 50 years ago. We're now living in the information age, hurtling toward the AI age. Yet we're still using an educational operating system designed for a world that no longer exists. It's like trying to run ChatGPT on a computer from 1985. Sure, it technically turns on, but it's spectacularly inadequate for the task at hand. Today's world doesn't reward those who follow instructions. It rewards those who write new ones. It values adaptability over obedience, creativity over conformity, and the ability to learn continuously over what you memorized in 10th grade. Here's where this stops being merely inefficient and becomes genuinely harmful. Millions of people treat graduation as a finish line rather than a starting gun. They receive their diploma, breathe a sigh of relief, and think, "Thank God that's over. I'm educated now." No, you're credentialed. These are not the same thing. In a world where the average smartphone has more computing power than the systems that landed humans on the moon, where entire industries are born and die within a decade, where AI is rewriting the rules of work itself, in this world, believing your education is finished is intellectual suicide. This explains the paradox we opened with: brilliant students who feel hopelessly unprepared for reality. They weren't trained to think, they were trained to perform. They can ace the test, but they can't read the room. They memorize the formulas, but they never learn to question the assumptions. School taught them what to think. It forgot to teach them how to think. Let me introduce you to 3 people. Person A graduated summa cum laude from an Ivy League institution. She can recite Milton and solve differential equations. She has not read a book since commencement. Person B barely finished high school. At 16, he taught himself to code by watching YouTube tutorials at midnight. He now runs a startup that's revolutionizing healthcare logistics. Person C studied art history in college. She spent her 20s obsessively learning about behavioral psychology, digital marketing, and human attention. Today, she's a sought-after creative director earning 6 figures. Question: who's educated? If you answered all of them, or only B and C, congratulations, you understand the game. If you answered only person A, you're still trapped in the matrix. True education isn't a credential you earn and frame on your wall. It's understanding that in the 21st century, learning isn't something that ends, it's something that accelerates.
Redefining intelligence. The world has changed its requirements, so we must change our definitions. Intelligence is no longer measured by how much you've memorized. Google eliminated that metric. It's measured by how quickly you can learn what you need when you need it. Success is no longer determined by your GPA, your pedigree, or your ability to sit still for 8 hours. Your ability to educate yourself, continuously, strategically, voraciously, is the ultimate competitive advantage. So here's your choice, presented without judgment. You can finish school and consider yourself done. You can collect your degree, hang it on the wall, and coast on credentials that depreciate with every passing year. Or you can recognize that school was merely the tutorial level. The real game is just beginning. You can build the habit of learning independently. Read obsessively. Experiment recklessly. Fail often. Question constantly. Follow your curiosity down rabbit holes that don't appear on any syllabus. You can become the self-directed learner the future demands. Someone who doesn't wait for a curriculum, who doesn't need a teacher's permission to explore, who treats every day as an opportunity to become more capable than you were yesterday.
Your transcript will show what boxes you checked. Your diploma will prove you showed up. But neither document will reveal what matters most, whether you learned to learn. Schooling might make you qualified. Only education will make you formidable. So let me ask you one more time. With higher stakes than before, are you merely schooled or are you truly educated? Because in the world we're building, the one that's arriving faster than anyone predicted, that distinction isn't philosophical, it's survival.